The following episode is brought to you by Poison City Brewing, proud makers of Durban Poison Cannabis Lager, the beer that invites you to live your poison.
The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is here. It's real hip-hop music from the soul, y'all. Yeah, check it.
How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? It's myself, Nasiphi Zwane. I'm back again with another episode of Sludge Underground. As usual, I am with my co-host, Meagan of Lemon Dove, and today we have a really awesome guest. I'm going to let her introduce him, and then we can take the show from there.
Jesse XXI is an independent producer from India. He entered his local hip-hop scene in 2015 as a rapper and has since found his sonic identity as a mind behind the beats. His debut EP, called My Name is Jesse, expresses his philosophy that there should be no rules while making music. We are so happy to have you, Jesse. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you for the introduction. I'm really grateful for the opportunity and super glad to be on the show.
Jesse, that introduction you got there is the greatest we've ever had on the show, ever. So shout out to Meagan for that one. That was really special. And from what she was saying there, that you are a producer and whatnot, man. Just talk me through sort of where your passion for production stems from. How long ago did you then decide that I'm gonna become a producer?
I started out as a rapper in 2015 with my friend. We were both classroom rappers, kind of. And I was actually hugely influenced by, big hip-hop scenes like Eminem. And I used to, learn lyrics and, just randomly, rap battle with my friend. And we both started to write our own lyrics and taking beats from YouTube and making songs. Initially, 1 or 2 years, we did beats from YouTube, and we started making some things that was really, really strange for us because the hip-hop music was not that much in India. It was not that much huge, especially the big names like Eminem and Russ and Post Malone something. And from that, I wanted something to that I could express myself, and I used to write the lyrics. Then I just thought that I should produce songs for my rap music. And from there, I started to make hip-hop beats from my own songs. And that's how basically I went into producing music. And yeah, that's the story basically.
I really just need to find out from you before I pass on to Meagan. Are you still rapping? You're a producer. Do you still sort of, do the whole rap thing with your friend, or even as a solo artist, or have you completely shifted, onto just strictly production?
Right now, for I think 2 years to 3 years, I'm not into rapping, and I'm producing music, and my friend is actually I think he's doing something in YouTube, or I don't know. I'm not aware of that. We haven't met like after school, after 10th. We didn't met. For now, I'm a producer, and yeah, no plans to go for rapping again.
You said that when you started sort of rapping, there wasn't really much space for the big sort of names in hip-hop in your local scene. Has it sort of changed since then? What's it like in your scene now?
Yeah, so in India, it's really exploding, There's so many hip-hop underground artists, and from 5 years before, this was a completely different scene, And now the hip-hop scene in India is really big industry now. It's more than the Bollywood, Bollywood songs taking more hip-hop songs, and even remixes. There are hip hop and so many big names from India which are making records. Like there was a song from Indian rapper called Badshah. He made the highest viewed song on YouTube, and that was, I think, 75 million in one day. So yeah, that's really exploding scene in India for hip hop.
It's really cool to hear that. It's great that things can reach so many places in the world, and it's amazing to see how different people from different places take on a genre and make it their own. It said that you had songs that sort of incorporated Hindi and Punjabi languages, and you were telling me that you had plans to collaborate with more Hindi rappers. Can you tell me more about those projects?
I'm not working on those projects, but there is an idea to collaborate. I have met a lot of super talented rappers, artists, and they're doing amazing work. And for now, it's not that clear. But yeah, chances are 100% in future sometime.
Just listening to what you were talking about earlier about the one artist that just made these crazy numbers on YouTube, stemming from India as well. It just brings me to the thought about, numbers and whatnot. I was checking out your Spotify earlier, courtesy of Meagan, and basically I saw that you basically hitting like 3K plus streams, every month. When you first started, producing and whatnot, did you ever think that your sort of your music or the production that you make, did you ever think that it would have, such an impact? 3,000 plus listeners is nothing small. It's really huge. So did you think that your production would have that sort of impact when you first started producing?
I'm actually really surprised by the amount of support I got, the amount of people liked my songs. I'm actually proud for the track that was super experimental, the interlude, and there are a lot of different opinions of people, and there's the huge actually a story behind the whole EP and how I came up with the name. So back in January, I was releasing songs under a different name, and I just had this random idea to call of mind, and I just thought to make something that I could say that, yeah, this is me, and I could say that I want that if someone hears this song, it reminds them that, yeah, this is this guy's song, and I wanted something like that because I had these experiences from the hip hop music, and after that the EDM. I was much into EDM, and I had those experiences. I was doing a lot of remixes, and the idea was to make a single title track to introduce the newer version, and I started to make the title track. In the newer version, I thought I should rename my artist name, and as soon as I started making the title track, I had this thing in my mind that I have to make something that sounds fresh, and from that title track, from January to I think March, 3 months, I was making that title track, different versions of that title track. I think 10 to 12 different versions of that title track, and I was not satisfied by any one of them. And I think in end of March, I think I completely lost hope to do that project. I was not completely aware of where I want to go. I was experimenting stuff, and then I thought to completely finish this and quit this project and do that thing again. That was the EDM songs, the remixes. So I got that mindset back, and I started to finish those versions of the title track. then I discovered something like the all 10 to 12 songs had the same kind of rhythm and a different sort of vibe in them. And that really clicked me. And I started finishing those songs. And a couple of those songs like had very ambient and atmospheric sound. And initially, I was thinking to release them as a 4-song EP. And then randomly, as you know, these things come randomly to me. And that whisper sound and with that vibrato effect. And I just experimented with that. And that's how the song made really burnt out those different versions that I made before. And this was a really different experiment for the public too, because I was kind of sure that they haven't heard this different type of sound before. These whisper sounds, we don't hear that much. And when I released that EP with the interlude, I was blown out. And that song has now, I think, 6,000 streams all alone, and it's really proud for me. And people like Malik English and Andy, they helped me out in the song, and a shout out to them. And yeah, that was kind of the story behind the EP.
I think it's very beautiful how you just, broken it down and gone sort of in depth in terms of how it was sort of made and sort of your influences. You mentioned the EDM there and whatnot. Looking at it from a producer's perspective, what are your go-to, plugins or sounds, especially when we look at, this EP. When you were going into it, had you already, planned that, okay, these are the instruments that I'm going to be using, these are the plugins that I'm going to be using? Or was it sort of just a thing of, what, let me just jump into it and let's just, whatever happens, sort of, happens?
I think there were certainly no plans to go for this type of sound. I was really too much into EDM and hip hop music, and I wanted something to sound completely different, and I didn't use those plugins, those instruments, in making of this EP. But the things that I did use were a lot of random sounds. So the sample in the I think the woods, the ambient sound back, that was actually a kind of melody. I was roaming around, and there's a place near my house. There was a lot of trees, like the woods, and from the I was roaming there, and I randomly got that melody, and I got this sample, and that was actually the woods. And same is for the think Phoenix, and yeah, the Girl from Moon. And those were actually sounds recorded from my phone. They just humming along and humming these melodies, and then I merged them into samples, and then I used those as the basic structures.
I'm wondering about what it was like to collaborate with these two artists on Reverie, Malik and Andy.
Yeah, so we met online on a music group. So I had this beat, and I just asked a couple of people, are you interested in this, collaborating? And then I think Malik DM'd me, and he said, "Yo, I think I will like to collaborate." And yeah, I sent him the beat, and he sent me the verse. And beforehand, we was thinking to make it 2 verse and 1 chorus, and everything to vocals to Malik. But what happened then? He got really busy, and the track was completely half done and only 1 verse. Then I was kind of dropping the song out of the EP. I was thinking that if I will release this song as a one verse. I think that my already songs in my EP are very short, so I want that to be a little different. This has a really up kind of different vibe, hip hop vibe. Then I asked someone else to collaborate and complete the song. That was the kind of end moment. When I got message from Andy, he said, "Yeah, I would love to do the second verse," and yeah, that actually happened at the last moment. Andy jumped in and the song was made.
That's cool. So it's like it took a fresh third mind to complete the full piece. That's very cool.
Yeah. The phone part, the chorus kind of that part, that was actually the sample that I got from YouTube, and I cut that out, and the idea was to the verse comes first, then the breakdown, the complete silence, and the phone call. That kind of represents the reverie. When we are doing some things, we kind of think about something else, and that represents the phone call in the song. And then after that, you're a new, that after that feeling, you are a different kind of, in a different mood, to do things. And that second verse comes in. And that was the idea of the full song.
I really appreciate how in depth you've actually gone into the EP, because it's quite evident that through the people that have been listening, and the numbers that people can basically see, when they go onto your Spotify, you can just see that a lot of work has sort of gone into it, which sort of brings me to when I look at the amount of work and effort that you put in your work. I know that you did mention that you started off as a rapper, and you mentioned artists like Eminem and whatnot as your inspirations back then. And with you growing as a producer, with each passing year and whatnot, which other producers would you say you maybe ended up discovering that you maybe say look up to or draw inspiration from? Like, for example, I'll tell you mine. I know that Logic recently released an album, and he's got one of the best producers, I think, in No ID. And I just look at a producer like that, and it sort of leads me to this question in terms of, on your side as a producer, which other producers do you then look up to and sort of draw inspiration from? Sorry for repeating myself.
There's Dr. Dre. From the EDM, there is Skrillex, Illenium, and there is I think there's a band called Purity Ring, and I think Tiesto a little bit when I started out as EDM.
That's a very impressive list right there, man. And looking at your sort of setup, you told us about, the plugins and the samples that you've been using and whatnot. What's your sort of go-to software or DAW when it comes to producing? And sort of why would you say that one is, reigns supreme?
So I started with FL Studio when I was making hip-hop beats for myself, for my songs. And then I switched to Ableton. Right now I'm using Ableton. And I think that has, Ableton has a quite good workflow for me. So I think I can, work for a long time without getting, stressed or something. It's simple. I think for me, that's really the simplest DAW to use.
Are you planning on releasing anything anytime soon?
Yeah, actually, I was talking with this rapper about to release a hip hop track, and really excited.
Yeah, and just from that there, stemming off of Megan's question actually, with you mentioned, Malik earlier on, and you also just mentioned now the artists that you're gonna be working with and whatnot. Just from a producer's perspective, which artists would you say, you'd like to work with, in the near future or in the future in general, an artist that you look up to and you're like, you know what, I'd really want to, get an opportunity to produce for so and so. Give me your top three.
I would actually love to work with Banks and Post Malone, and there's a Indian rapper called Danav. Yep, those three.
That is solid, bro. That's a solid list. It's nice to hear on Post Malone in there as well, because he's quite huge. And I actually have no doubt, you're just listening to, the beats and stuff that you've made. I have no doubt that it's not impossible for you to produce for Post Malone, dude.
Thanks, man.
I was looking at your pages, and something that you said really stood out to me. You were talking about the long-term solution, and you said that you should live a service life, not a surface life. Please, can you dig into that a little bit more for us?
I think it's really weird for me to say. I'm really philosophical. I dig deep to different meanings, And that post that I made, that's actually, the core principle that I live up to. So the idea behind, you should live a service life, not a surface life, is humans are built to serve, in any way or form. We are built to serve. Either we are built to serve the closest 10 people or the masses amount of people. So there's I think, a philosophy behind the service. Humans are built to service people, and if you're not happy in life, it's because you're not serving people enough. You see artists, and we do entertain people, and the richest person in the world is providing service to people, in any way or form. If you're not serving the society, then you are living the surface life. So that was the thought. Actually, I'm thinking about a lot of stuff. What is life? What is the meaning of this? Humanity, and that's what I want to convey through my music. I want people to know the truth. And that is the thought that I take with me while making the song. That's the value I want to give to my listeners.
Well, I think that is a really noble quest, and I'm glad that that's the path that you've chosen.